So I think one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have been shooting around this case is regards the child protection system. You know, why were these children placed in this situation? We hear yet again, like we do in the many, many cases, that CPS were called loads of times by a few different people, that they had attended the home and basically they weren't allowed access to the house. Now, that's a red flag. If you are dealing in child protection services and you cannot get to the children, then surely that warrants police and lawful action. There must be something that says, look, we have a feeling that these children are at risk. We have a history where their other children have been at risk. Candace's son, years ago, Andrew, beaten badly. And so this isn't a new thing. This is a historic issues with these children around this property. We know what we know, and we can only kind of guess what would have been reported to CPS, but it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good. And look where it ended up. Look where it ended up. The boys ended up in the system anyway, and Summers, who knows where. But CPS should have done more. They should have done more. And I know whenever you talk about social services here in the UK, CPS in the US, there is a split, there is a divide, because people's excuse is always, but they haven't got enough staff, they're underfunded. That's not our problem. It's the government's problem. The government's duty of care is to the public and to the children. They have to manage their money and put the money where it needs to be. Like here in the UK. So our weapons budget overshadows our child services budget by astronomical amounts. Last year, we were spending around £8,500 a minute, so around $10,000 every minute, and that was on nuclear weaponry alone. So the maintenance of our nuclear program. And that is 10% of the overall weapons budget only. So that's what sort of money we're talking about. And what amazes you is when things happen that there is a propaganda element to it, or some way that they can make themselves look fantastic, these governments can pull money out of the air and pull it out of their backsides, and they can do that with it. But when it comes to protecting their own and protecting their children, they're underfunded, understaffed, undertrained. Well, how about reducing the budgets that you've got for all the other elements by 1% and just sinking that into caring for children? Ultimately, children are the future of the entire world. So why would you not want to put as much in to protect them as possible? How many Nick's Mary Browns are we going to see? Baby P's are we going to see? These countless cases where children are left, and look, I mentioned some children's names there, and I know some people are going to talk about other people as well. But the point is, there are an abundance of cases that we know of where the failings of the system were catastrophic. The percentages on how many of these cases could have been avoided if the job would have been done properly is scary and sad, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop, and I think that the reason it doesn't stop is ignorance, because they don't allow people to see it, and not many people know about just how big the problem is. It's not yet something that they have to tackle. It's not until the public becomes fully aware of just the gravity of it that they then think, oh, now we're going to have to do something about it, because everybody knows. How many reports do you see come out that end nowhere? I think in the UK we're still waiting for reports on the Star Hobson and Arthur Lavinia Hughes. What takes them so long? You failed. You failed to do your job, and it resulted in a child being killed. And there's no repercussions to it. The system let the child down. And it's got to stop. and no longer can people just stick their heads in the sand and say, oh, it's because they're underfunded, they're undertrained, and they've got loads of work. Recruit more people, give them more money if they need it, and offer more training. That's what every single other business does on the planet. Even a corner shop selling sweets, milk and cheese. They will train their people up. They will get the relevant staff to cover the store. Why can't a business that is looking after the lives and welfare of children do the same? What? Because a child's life isn't as important as a gun. Some people have got some things to answer for, and it's got to stop.